This is the 1B, and we are going to do our PGC Team Faceoff picks. I know some of you have been waiting for this, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on this voting button up here. We're going to go to Pick'em Challenge, and then we're going to go to Team Faceoff. Pick the Winner version isn't due for 20 days. I'll give you another video when it's closer to that time. Again, you should wait until all the stages are completed, because after last stage, teams are eliminated. Once those teams are eliminated, you're only going to have 16 teams left. There's 33 teams. There will be only 16 teams left. There's no reason for you to put your picks in now and end up picking something that's wrong. PUBG gives you one coupon. You can go to the store and purchase each bundle, which gives you another ticket. If you buy the mega bundle, you can then get the one from the mega bundle and then redeem the following ones separately. As you buy more of those tickets, it supports the team. It increases. This is the original prize pool, and then here is from skin sales. Let's do this one by one. We're going to do the team face-off. This needs to be picked within the next 6 days. Theerathon 5 versus GK Esports. So currently, if you look at the match prediction based on the winnings, Theerathon 5 is the favored team. It pays out less. 89.9% of the players have voted for Theerathon 5. Only 10% for GK Esports. This is the spreadsheet that I made, and I pulled in data from, as you can see here, I'm just going to scroll through here. My focus was on PGS 7, 8, 9, and 10, and my major focus was on the team stats and points per game and the standard deviation, which is like their consistency. Just to give you a quick rundown on this, the way this works is Theerathon 5 over the tournaments that I have them placed scored 6.46 points per match. That's on average. So this is over all of the tournaments that I have for them. There are some teams here, like Anyone's Legend, that did not participate in any of the PGS events. So they didn't participate in PGS 7, PGS 8, PGS 9, and PGS 10. Those were my focuses because those were this year. And a majority of those teams end up playing each other. So I thought it would give an accurate representation to how one team did versus another. However, some of these teams did not participate in those. So I had to pull information from tournaments that they were in before. My primary source was the PGS events. There are a few other ones like Esports World Cup, the qualifiers for those. Some of them are series that are in a particular region. So we have points per game. And then here is the team consistency. Let's say they scored 6 points in a match. On average, this consistency is basically plus or minus 1 point. So they have a swing. These are their consistency variation. The lower the number is, the more consistent they are. The higher the percentage, the more volatile they are. What you're typically looking for is a lower variation, but high points per game. If you only look at this number, you're not going to get an accurate representation of how the team is. If you only look at this number, there is a chance that there is a variation. For example, if you take this team is 0.92, and if you compare them to Begapuz 0.98, you would think that they're very even. But then when you look at their average points, this is a 5, Begapuz is a 5.76. So this 0.98 is slightly better than Alcadeta's 0.92 because of the higher average per game. I know that's complicated. You don't need to know too much about that. I'm going to give you the picks here. We're going to do it live, well, in this video. But that's just to give you kind of an understanding of the teams. I have some notes here. We'll get to those as we make the picks. So the first one is a fairly straightforward. It's this system chose Theerathon 5. There's a 1.3 points per game more than GK Esports, and the variations are very similar. So you're going to take Theerathon 5 just because on average they score more points by 1.3. Here's an example where that fails. If Theerathon 5 consistently scores 1.56 points less than their average, and GK does 1.25 above, then you're going to see GK win. But on average, statistically, it currently looks like Theerathon 5 is going to win. So we chose Theerathon. We choose Theerathon 5. That's our pick. As you can see here, we got this pick, Theerathon 5. Next up, E-Arena. So E-Arena versus Game Start Win. E-Arena is the favored team. A majority of people have picked them 87.7 times. Game Start Win is the underdog at 12.3% picked. My system here says that E-Arena scores 6.45 points per game with a variation of 1.43. Game start win, is a 5.39 with a 1.36 variation. eArena is a 22% variation, while Game start win is a 25% variation. This is the variation matched against their average. This team is more volatile than eArena. There's another thing here that we want to talk about is game start win is formerly New Happy Esports. The reason I bring this stuff up is because if you are not following my guide with exact picks, maybe you have a fondness for New Happy, maybe you believe that they are stronger than eArena. This just kind of gives you a little bit of more information. Currently, it looks like eArena is currently scoring better across the tournaments. In this pick here, we are going to go with eArena. There we go. Twisted Minds in Virtus.pro. Twisted Minds is the favored here with 90.3%. In Virtus.pro is the underdog at 9.7%. My system shows that Twisted Minds is a 7.18 points per game with a 2.03 consistency, 28.26 variation. So they are versus Virtus.pro, which has a 6.36 points per game and a team consistency of 1.86 and their variation of 29.25. Not only does Twisted Minds on average score more than Virtus.pro, their variation is lower. And so here's what I want to make a note here is this is a 0.8. It chooses Twisted Minds, but it's a 0.8 points per game more. This is a very close call. This is less than a point. The variation here is also less than 1%. This one here, even though my system by the numbers chooses Twisted Minds, just be forewarned, these are two big teams and they have a very close matchup. You could choose Virtus.pro here. I am choosing Twisted Minds. Next up is Copenhagen Wolves and FN Pecheon. Copenhagen Wolves are currently the underdog at 11%, while FN Pecheon is 89%. Copenhagen Wolves and FN Pecheon. Something here that we should note is Copenhagen Wolves is formerly known as MRIA, which is Mission Ready International Alliance. So if you are a fan of theirs and you would like to support them over Pecheon, that is something that I wanted to put forth. But if you look at the numbers, Copenhagen Wolves, formerly known as MRIA, is a points per game 4.45. They have a very consistent variation of points. They are very low at 14%. FN Pecheon is a 5.8 points per game with a 21% variation, which is also fairly low. So these teams are actually kind of fairly consistent with very little swing in their points. However, on average, Pecheon scores more, and they still have a fairly low swing, while Copenhagen Wolves only scores about 4.5 points with a swing of about 0.5 point. So let's say they get 5 points and Pecheon only does their average, Pecheon still wins. So in my opinion, we're going to go F on Pecheon here. So as much as I would like to take Copenhagen Wolves, the numbers show FN Pecheon. Next up is DN Freecs versus Begapa. DN Freecs is favored by 92.2%, and Begapa is the underdog at 7.8. So when we look at the system here, DN Freecs on average are scoring 8.13 points per game with a variation of 3.34. They have a very high percentage of 41.01%. They are one of the highest variation in the tournament. Petrichor Road is also very high, and Gen.G. So this team is a very volatile team. They have swings. They have a lot of swings. They'll get high point games and then they'll have low point games. So you have to watch this. Begapa, on the other hand, is a 5-point team, but they have a much lower variation. However, even on Freecs' low swings, they're about 5 points. So it would take Begapa to be on their very best and Freecs to be on their very worst in order for this to be a swing. So because of that, we are taking DN Freecs. Next up is Anyone's Legends versus Team Orchid. Anyone's Legends is currently the favored team by 89.4%, while Team Orchid is 10.6% underdog. Back up here to the spreadsheet. Anyone's Legend versus Team Orchid. Anyone's Legend is a 7.15 points per game with a variation of 22.75%. Team Orchid is a 5-point team with a 25.56 percentage. So these teams are both also fairly consistent again, but at the same time, Anyone's Legend scores more points per match than Team Orchid. Now, here is where we run into a hiccup. Team Orchid is formerly known as Gen.G, and Anyone's Legend hasn't participated in any PGS. Here is where we get a little bit of complication, because Anyone's Legend didn't participate in PGS. They didn't play in 7, 8, 9, or 10 of PGS this year. They did play in other events and other regional stuff, but against these PGS, PGC teams, they have very little experience, so that could hurt them. While Team Orchid is also formerly Gen.G roster, right? So they have had some time in the PGS stuff. Question is, so Team Orchid is probably going to perform as they normally perform. The question is Anyone's Legends, are they going to perform better or worse? That's a huge question here. Based on the numbers of the tournament, Anyone's Legends scores 2.2 more points per game. They are favored to win by this system. I'm going to follow my system just because I want to see how it plays out. For anybody out there that wants to make an adjustment, I feel like this is a very reasonable matchup to make a different choice, because Anyone's Legend may not perform as good in other events when they start facing some of these other teams. Another thing I should say is Anyone's Legend, I believe, has Hamas on the roster, formerly like the highest kills across all tournaments. I don't know if he still is, but just Hamas is a legend. If you don't know who he is, he's a great player. So he hasn't participated this year much. That's to be chosen. So we are taking Anyone's Legend here, but you could very well choose Team Orchid just because of the lack of experience that Anyone's Legends have. So we are going to choose Anyone's Legend just because I'm going by the numbers. Next up is 4angrymen and Petrichor Road. 4angrymen is currently the underdog with 12.3%, while Petrichor Road is the favored 87.7%. Go back up to the spreadsheet here. 4angrymen versus Petrichor Road. This is a very close call. This is a 0.4 difference in points per game. Here's where we need to pay attention, because 4angrymen currently on average is a 5.02 average per game. Petrichor Road is a 5.44. So that's a difference of 0.4 points. However, if you look at the volatility, the swing number here, the variation, 4angrymen is less likely to have a point variation. They're going to be closer to this 5 points. Petrichor Road has a very high possibility of being higher or lower. Petrichor Road is a very volatile choice here. Even though statistically it looks like it's going to be them, this is a very close call. Not only is it a 0.4 points per game, the volatility of this, there's a possibility that Petrichor Road does bad and 4angrymen wins this. This is a tough call for me. This is me choosing this purely because my system is saying to choose Petrichor Road. This is also predicated on the fact that they at least do that both these teams at least do their average. We are going to choose Petrichor Road. Al-Qadsiya and Azla Pentagram. This is the next choice. Al-Qadsiya is the favored selector here at 82.2%, while Azla Pentagram is the underdog at 17.8%. Let's go up to the spreadsheet. Al-Qadsiya is a 5-point per game team with a variation of about 1. They are very consistent. Azla Pentagram is a 6-point per game team with a very low consistency, also very low variation. These teams, Al-Qadsiya is favored. However, my system says that Azla Pentagram is going to win. Something here that you should also pay attention to is that Azla Pentagram didn't participate in any PGS event. They participated in other tournaments, but they did not participate in any of the PUBG Global Series. So that means they have a lack of experience against a lot of these teams, maybe an experience against their particular region, but Al-Qadsiya did have experience. So is that experience enough to swing it? Is Azla Pentagram going to end up scoring less than what they are consistently scoring? I am choosing Azla Pentagram just because the numbers say Azla Pentagram. This is an upset choice for me, but you could very well say that they're inexperienced. That's why Alcancia is going to do better. Next up is the Expendables versus Made in Thailand. The Expendables is currently the favor at 91.2%. Made in Thailand is the underdog at 8.8%. Let's go look at the spreadsheet here. The Expendables are a 6.17 points per game team with a variation of 27%. Made in Thailand is a 6.7 team with a 15.38% variation. They are very consistent at 6.7, while the Expendables are a little bit more volatile, even though 27 is very consistent still. It is a swing of a 0.5 more points per game, 6.17, 6.7. This is a very small percentage of a difference. I think that this comes down to consistency. The variation between Thailand and the Expendables, this is a 12% difference. Made in Thailand is actually formerly known as Forest Natural Gaming. So I think that in this situation, I feel like they've been doing really good. I am going to go with Made in Thailand. Made in Thailand again is Forest Natural Gaming. They are currently considered the underdog, but I'm choosing them. The numbers say different for me. Next up is Sharper Esports versus Rock Esports. Sharper Esports is currently the underdog with 11.2% voted on them, and Rock Esports as the favored 88.8%. We're going to go ahead and switch back to the spreadsheet. Sharper Esports is a 5.35 team with 11.39% variation, while Rock Esports is a 4.65 team, and they have a 31.68% variation. This is a very close with a 0.7 points per game difference. Sharper Esport hasn't participated in the PGS series as much as Rock has. Lack of experience here, even though this is one of the lowest variations percentages, Sharper Esports is what we are going to choose. You're going to click pick, and we are going to go to Team Falcons versus Team Liquid. Team Falcons are currently the favorite team at 91%, Team Liquid at 9%. Go up to the spreadsheet. Team Falcons is a 7-point on average team, while Team Liquid is a 4. A swing for the Falcons is 12%, also very consistent team. Team Liquid is 32%. They are more volatile. They are more swingy. So even if they swing high and Team Falcons swing low, there's not really a chance here. So we are going to choose Team Falcons. Also, the team that I want to win. So there's a little bit of favoritism there, even though the numbers say Nemiga Gaming is the current favored team at 84.2%. Change the game is 15.8%. They are the underdog. The spreadsheet says Nemiga Gaming is an 8.3 points per game team. Volatile variation of 32.47%, while Change the Game is a 5.36 at 31.49%. Their points per game, it's about a 3-point difference, and the variation is about exactly the same. So if I had to guess, even if this team does its worst and this team does its best, it's highly unlikely that Change the Game is going to take this position. A note here is Nemiga Gaming is win-ordy and they did not participate in PGS. It's likely that their experience affects their performance. They could end up being scoring lower. This is a pretty high score average considering they haven't participated in PGS environment. This is a little bit of anomaly. Like I said, the experience may hurt them, but we're going to go with Nemiga. We're going to choose Nemiga Gaming. Pick, close. Next up is BB Team in Furia. BB Team is the favored team at 90.6%. Furia is the underdog at 9.4%. BB Team is a 7.5 points per game average. They have a very consistent play at 8.9% variation. You can see here that they score more or less than a point each game. Furia is a 4.23 points per game average with a slightly more volatile variation with 28.38%. This percentage is this number weighed against their average. This is a worse variation than this is, because this is only like 1 to the full total. This is a difference of 3.3 points per game. They, again, if this team performs at its lowest and this team performs at its highest, it is very unlikely that Furia is going to win this. I have no notes on this. This is a BB team, pretty much landslide, if I had to say. So we go with BB Team here. Next up is 17 Gaming versus FaZe Clan. 17 Gaming is the favored team by 89.7%, and FaZe Clan is the underdog at 10.3%. 17 Gaming is a 5.87 average points per game. They have a variation of 19.59%. FaZe Clan is a 5.88 with a 15.44 variation, purely on average points per game. This is a 0 points per game difference, 5.87 versus 5.88. This is where this variation, I think, is going to come into play. 17 Gaming is slightly more volatile. There's a chance that they swing up or down. FaZe Clan is much more consistent. There is a chance that they swing up or down still, but it's all about a point. So in this situation, it looks like FaZe Clan is barely squeezing it out. I'm going to choose FaZe Clan here because my system chooses FaZe Clan, but on this particular choice, you could probably flip a coin. But we're going to go with FaZe Clan because I think this points per game is slightly higher. It's a 0.01 difference, even though it's rounded to 0, and their variation is lower. So we know that they are going to score what they need to score. If 17 Gaming doesn't do so well, their number may go down. So we are hoping for FaZe Clan to swing up and 17 Gaming to swing down. Go ahead and choose FaZe Clan here. They are the underdog, so you have a chance to win some good points there. Next up is Gen.G versus J.D.G Esports. I have it on my list as J.D. Gaming. J.D.G is J.D. Gaming. It's slightly different. Don't worry about it. Name the whole year have shifted some, and so when I was pulling stats, this is one that needed to be adjusted. Gen.G is a 6.49 average points per game with a very high variation. They're 41.09%. J.D.G Esports is a 6.87 team with also a fairly high variation. So in this situation, on average, J.D.G Esports typically is going to take it. It's a very close call. It's a 0.4 points per game on average difference, leaning towards J.D. Gaming, and they have a slightly lower variation versus Gen.G. So we are hoping for low points with Gen.G and high points with J.D. Esports. We are going to choose J.D.G Esports. Last one here. We have Natus Vincere, aka Navi, versus T1. Natus is the favor at 87.7%. T1 at the underdog at 12.3%. And then when we look up here at the numbers, Natus Vincere is a 5.68 points per game on average with a variation of 22%. T1 is a 6.98 points per game average with a 23.89% variation. They have a slightly higher variation, but they have 1.3 more points per game. It would basically take a swing up for Navi and a swing down for T1 to swing this. So we're going to go with T1 in this particular situation. We are going to choose T1, also an underdog. So we are going to make that choice. And that's it for the Team Faceoff. So go ahead and take a look here. These are my picks. We have Theerathon 5 against GK Esports. E-Arena is my pick against GameStart Win. Twisted Minds versus Virtus.pro is Twisted Minds is my pick. Copenhagen Wolves versus FN Pecheon. FN Pecheon is my pick. DN Freecs versus Begapa. DN Freecs is my pick. Anyone's Legend versus Team Orchid. Anyone's Legend is my pick. For Angry Men versus Petrichor Road. Petrichor Road is my pick. Alcatsea versus Azla Pentagram. Azla Pentagram is my pick. The Expendables versus Made in Thailand. Made in Thailand is my pick. Sharper Esports versus Rock Esports. Sharper Esports is my pick. Team Falcons versus Team Liquid. Team Falcons is my pick. Nemiga Gaming versus Change the Game. Nemiga Gaming is my pick. BB Team versus Furia. BB Team is my pick. 17 Gaming versus FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is my pick. Gen.G versus J.D.G Esports. J.D.G Esports is my pick. Natus Vincere versus T1. T1 is my pick. Those are my Team Faceoff picks for PGC 2025. Thanks for checking this out. Hopefully this pays off and see if this system works. If the system doesn't work, then we make adjustments for it next year. Pick the winner is in 20 days. Team Faceoff is in 6 days. You need to make these picks as soon as possible. There will be no changes to these stats. You need to make these picks as soon as possible because you will not have a chance to make these picks again after this time limit ends in 6 days, 3 hours, and 4 minutes. Pick the winner isn't for 20 days. In about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I'll see if I can get out another video for that. The only issue is technically you don't have all the information you need until December 7th. And that's when teams get eliminated. So it won't be until after then. However, you need to have your pick in, I think, almost immediately. I will work on trying to get some information for that, but I will at the very least get you what picks I choose in a screenshot. For the people on YouTube, I'll share that on the community posts page. If I can get you a video, I will get you a video. Here is my Team Faceoff picks for PGC 2025. Hopefully that information is useful, and I'll give you a quick peek here at my spreadsheet so that you can refer back to it if you need to. Again, just go ahead and pause the video if you want to check out these stats. Here are my picks, so go ahead and pause the video if you want to check out those. And yeah, I'll be back with more information. I'll talk to you later. Peace.